Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. Overnight into Tuesday, Russian forces again attacked Ukraine with drones and missiles. According to Ukrainian officials, Russia launched 97 attack drones and 2 ballistic missiles targeting civilian sites. One of the strikes hit a 9-story residential building in central Zaporizhzhia. Emergency services report that 3 people were wounded. The head of the Zaporizhzhia Regional Military Administration also said that Russian forces used an FPV drone to strike a minibus in the city, but no casualties were reported. Turning to the front line, Ukrainian military journalist Yuri Butasov has shared new details about the Kupiansk operation, which has been ongoing since September 2025. At that time, Russian forces had captured most of Kupiansk, including a dominant high ground in the city's northern outskirts. In response, Ukraine formed a search and strike task force with the objective of reaching the Oskil River north of Kupiansk and encircling Russian troops inside the city. During the operation, Ukrainian forces managed to break through a Russian kill zone. Butasov notes that by the time Russian Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov and President Vladimir Putin publicly claimed full control over Kupiansk, the Russian grouping inside the city had already been cut off from its main forces. According to current assessments, Russian units are now attempting to break the encirclement from the north using the so-called infiltration tactics, but without success. At the same time, Ukrainian forces continue advancing within the city's residential districts. Researchers report that Ukrainian troops are currently conducting intensive drone operations to prepare for a further offensive aimed at pushing Russian forces away from Kupiansk and reducing their bridgehead on the western bank of the Oskil River. However, a Ukrainian serviceman on the ground cautions that a clearing operation in Kupiansk may still take several more weeks. Further south, near Kostiantynivka, Russian units are advancing northwards towards Kramatorsk. Analysts say they have pushed significantly further west than before in the direction of Kramatorsk. Now, despite this, the situation around Kostiantynivka remains described as, quote, fragile stabilization. Russian troops are still managing to infiltrate deeper into the city than usual, while the southeastern part of Kostiantynivka continues to be classified as a gray zone with neither side exercising full control. The European coastline is increasingly turning into a zone of covert hybrid warfare. German journalism students from the Axel Springer Academy, using open source intelligence, have uncovered an alarming link between suspicious vessels and swarm of drones appearing over military facilities in Germany and the Netherlands. The vessels HAV Dolphin and HAV Snapper operated near military infrastructure for extended periods without any clear commercial purpose. During these times, a large number of unknown drones were reported over shipyards, bases, and ports, mostly in the evening and almost always targeting military sites. According to the BKA, more than 1,000 drone-related incidents were recorded in 2025 alone, with most remaining unidentified. While no direct ties to Russian entities have been officially confirmed, the coordinated nature of the activity points to organized reconnaissance efforts. Although no direct evidence linking Russian structures have been officially disclosed, intelligence confirmed that using low-level agents and civilian platforms for reconnaissance and sabotage is a well-established tactic in modern hybrid warfare. This story is not a verdict, but a warning. In Europe, the front line is increasingly shifting away from trenches and towards shipping routes and drone flight paths. For the first time since the war began, the SBU's Sub-Sea Baby underwater drone broke through a protected enemy bay and struck a Russian Varshavyanka-class submarine carrying Caliber cruise missiles. Now, those missiles had reportedly been used to target Ukrainian cities. The operation took place in the port of Novorossiysk, and a precise explosion caused critical damage to the submarine, putting it out of action. The strike was captured on high-quality video, rare footage documenting a moment that, until recently, seemed impossible: a successful hit on the Russian Federation's submarine fleet deep in its rear. In the Kupiansk sector, the war once again reveals its improvisational nature. See, a photo shows volleys from a homemade Ukrainian mini MLRS built on a frame of a civilian BMW E33 sedan firing at Russian troop positions. The vehicle, used by the 7th Battalion of the 114th Separate Territorial Defense Brigade, has been converted into a strike platform. 3 BM-21 Grad launchers for 122mm rockets have been mounted in the cargo area. This isn't an exhibition experiment, but a frontline combat tool designed for quick, unexpected strikes and rapid withdrawal from the firing zone. Near the village of Kostiantynivka in Zaporizhzhia, 2 Russian soldiers voluntarily surrendered to Ukrainian forces. There was no fight, no resistance, just a white flag and a clear understanding that continuing to fight had no purpose. According to sources, this is not an isolated case. In just one day, 12 occupiers laid down their arms in the Zaporizhzhia region. For some, it's a chance to save their lives. For others, it's an escape from census orders and a lack of supplies. The fact remains, on this section of the front, Russian soldiers' morale is beginning to crumble. Ukrainian FP-2 kamikaze UAVs continue to methodically target key elements of the enemy's rear infrastructure, striking where the war is supposed to be deep in the rear for Russian forces. Here, a train carrying tanks used for logistics was hit, along with an enemy FPV operator training center where Russian forces were working to expand their drone capabilities. Separately, a tanker at an oil depot was struck, as well as the Volna 2 electronic warfare complex, which had been shielding enemy units from aerial reconnaissance and strike UAVs. And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.